Yum! Cardboard.
How's it going, YouTube? Trying something different here, trying a new setup, got a new microphone, trying a new camera, and, this is not the be-all and end-all, just gonna try this and see how it goes. But I wanted to come out with this video after a friend of mine, we went for dinner, and we were just talking about all types of stuff about life, and what came up in conversation was rejection, and we were talking about one of the worst rejections we ever received. And it could be on anything from, dating to business to work, whatever it is. And for me, that answer was simple. And I was actually surprised I never told him about this. And what it's called is the Zellers Boondoggle. That's the name, the corny name I gave it. It's called the Zellers Boondoggle. Now, what is Zellers? For my American viewers, Zellers is like Walmart. It was like Walmart. It was Canada's largest department store or a discount store, or whatever you want to classify Walmart and Target and Kmart as. That's what Zellers was in Canada. And then when NAFTA first came in the 90s, and Walmart and Kmart and all these other American retailers came in, pretty much they made Zellers, obsolete. And it's not necessarily because of price. Zellers was always shoddy when it came to product selection and restocking. But they were the juggernaut for the longest time in Canada. And in their height, they had about 320 plus locations. So during this time, this is back in 2004, 2005, I had a company called Ezekiel Toys with a friend named Daniel, and we made like trading cards, card games, two 20-somethings trying to get into the game, trying to get into the toy industry. And we actually were members, card-carrying members of the Canadian Toy Association. We went to Toy Fair, all that kind of stuff. And we did get a small handful of independent toy stores selling some of our games and cards. But it was in 2004 that we created, at the time, our most successful product, which was the first comprehensive trading card set based on Canada, the Canadian Heritage Trading Card Series. And there was nothing like it before, and it was based on the provinces, territories, cities, history, indigenous people, inventions, little factoids, the wars we fought, everything, like just 80 cards based on different things. That is Canada. And it sold relatively well. But the most important part, the Toronto Star, which is Canada's largest newspaper, did a feature on it. So we got a full-page feature in Canada's largest newspaper, and it was great. It was a nice achievement to have. We didn't have a PR agent. I just did the PR myself, and it was a great pat on the back to know that we were able to get a full page in a major newspaper. But a few months after that feature, we got a phone call from the seasonal buyer of Zellers. And that was a big deal. Like, this is one of the largest, at the time, the second largest chain retailer in the country is contacting us, and she was interested in having our product at her stores. So we were elated. Like, you're in your 20s, and you have the chance to get into one of the biggest retailers in the country. So, we did the premature thing and went for a steak dinner. We went to the Keg and celebrated and all that kind of stuff. But we went to the meeting, and I will do a whole part of this video based on that meeting. That's a whole other thing altogether, the meeting that we went to. It's very important, but I'll touch on it after. But we ended up going to the meeting. We were the first ones there. We were the last ones to be seen. And in the meeting, she told us, okay, she's interested and that she could see this as an ongoing product in their stores nationwide, which again, we were ready and willing to do. In order to do this, we had to set up what is called EDI, electronic data interchange. That is how major retailers do their buying. They don't do paper purchase orders anymore. They do it all electronically. Fine. There was a cost to it, but it was worth the cost, so we did that. She wanted us to have actual point of purchase floor displays. So having actual these standees that you can put product in on the floor at each of their 300 plus locations. Again, an extra cost for us, but it's well worth it. Plus, it ensures that our products won't get lost on the shelf. So we were actually happy with that. So we would actually have our own dedicated space on the floor just for our products. And third and final, she wanted them in blister packs. So we were already planning to put these in foil packs, but she wanted the foil packs individually cased in bubble domes and blister packs that could be hung up. Again, extra cost, no problem. So we did all of that. So we spent time getting that done. That took a few months. And then we emailed her and let her know, okay, we got it all done. Everything that you wanted us to do, we got it done. Now, this is where the nonsense happened for 8 months. By by the time we had the meeting, which was in the summer of 2004, and then by the time we got everything done and ready to go, that was the fall of the same year. They wanted the product, to be on their shelves ready to go for Canada Day 2005. So there was more than enough time to get this going. And all we needed, the one thing I forgot that we did have, we also had a factoring company that was going to factor the receivables. So therefore, once we get the purchase order, or the EDI purchase order, we would send that to the factoring company and they would give us 80% of the receivables so we could then finance everything, get it done, and get the product that we promised them. So everything was set up. We were so happy, so proud of ourselves to get everything going, but we needed that purchase order. We needed that confirmation of exactly how much inventory they needed, exactly how much we're going to receive for it, the payment terms, everything, so we could give it to the factoring company. Month after month. So for the first 2 months after I sent her the message, I didn't want to harass her. I understood she's a buyer. She's a very busy woman. So 2 months after I sent the original information, like, hey, we got everything you're asking for, can we send the purchase order through the EDI system? Then about 2 to 2.5 months later, she messages me saying, well, you know what, we'll probably just do this as a one-time order. So we'll do it one time for Canada Day, see how it goes. And again, not a problem, because that one-time order, we already calculated it out, the case quantities versus how many stores, and it was about a $300,000 order. And that's off wholesale. So we're like, hey, okay, you know what? You want us to prove the value of our product as a one-time purchase? Not a problem. So really the EDI wasn't necessary. We paid for it already, but okay, you want to just do it a simple purchase order? We're cool with that. If you could please send the purchase order, we could get moving. Then the next few months were this weird, through Christmas into the new year, this weird cat and mouse game that made no sense to me. I have to email between her and her assistant back and forth. And it got cartoonish to the point that, the buyer would be gone, or she would go on a trip or a vacation, and then she'll tell me that I need to talk to her assistant. But then when I talk to the assistant, she would tell me that she's not authorized to make the decisions to go forward. And then I would wait for the buyer to come back, and then she would say, no, my assistant can provide you whatever you need. And I was like, well, again, it doesn't matter which one of you, just please, can you provide the purchase order? And this game kept on going until the do or die time, which was March. March 1st was the deadline that I put in order to get the ball rolling, get all the supplies and everything necessary done, because there's multiple levels. It wasn't just the cards. We had to get the blisters printed. Then we got to get the cards into the foil packs and get the foil packs printed. And then we have to put it all together, have it sealed, cased up, and then shipped to your warehouse. March was do or die to get this done. And she would not send me that purchase order. And to the point that, the time came, I could not do anything. And I sent her this email stating that for 8 months, we had copious amounts of time to get this done. And she sent me a message pretty much saying, oh, well, maybe next time. And when I got that message, when I got that email, this is when my immature 20-year-old self kicked in and my anger kicked in, because the deal was dead. And I sent her a very, very angry email, very unprofessional, no swearing whatsoever, but pretty much saying that she's the one who wasted our time. She's the one who's been playing games with us. Why you came to us with this? Why not just give us the purchase order so we could send you the product? Well, she never responded back, and I don't blame her. I was very full of rage in that one. Even before, I told her that in the previous message that she did respond back, I told her that we did not go after any other retailers. We did not go after Walmart, Canadian Tire, Shoppers Drug Mart, no other retailers. This was an exclusive for them, since they are the ones who came to us to blue in their stores. And in that message where she's like, maybe next time, she also said, good luck with Walmart. And even as a written message, that was passive aggressive. And one of the reasons why I lost it in my next message. But after that, everything fell apart. So, we spent all that money and time to, get things designed and all that. So imagine going to these major companies, these producers, and explain to them that the deal fell apart because the retailer couldn't be bothered to send us a purchase order. Are they going to really believe that? So our reputation went down the toilet. And, it just looked really bad. And then that destroyed the business. And Dan and I, it led to arguing and fighting, and We eventually went our separate ways and dissolved the whole company. And I was depressed for months after that. Not even months, I would say a good 3 years after that, because it was devastating and I was angry. And then I had a great conversation with a colleague who was an established businessman, way older than me, and we went for dinner, and he wanted to know the whole story. And the part that fascinated him the most, and he actually had to stop me, is when I talked about the actual meeting. So I told him when we were in the meeting, we got there, we were the earliest ones there, and so I guess they have a day where people coming to sell them products come in to do demonstrations. And there's even some representatives from Procter & Gamble who came in that day as well. But we were the first ones there, first thing in the morning. We were 45 minutes early. And then we saw other people coming with their products for different buyers. And we saw the buyers come out, meet the people, and then bring them in to their office. Everyone who came after us was brought in, and even some of them already finished their meeting and was leaving. Then the assistant came to get us. And this was a good half hour after we were supposed to meet. So we go in, and it's like, again, she's a busy woman, all good. So we go inside, and she's there shoveling cereal. I will never forget Cheerios. She's just eating Cheerios. And so we start the presentation. We have like things to display. We have hand displays and props and all this stuff. And she told us, just hurry it up. She just asked us specific questions. We answered each one of those questions as she's shoveling cereal in her mouth. And then she told us, okay, we could do this as for the stores and all that. And just as I'm explaining this, the older colleague that I was talking to, he stopped me. He's like, she was eating her cereal, eating breakfast in this meeting. And I go, yeah. And she goes, and he asked me, well, how long was she eating the cereal for? Was it just like quickly and excuse herself and put away? And she goes, no, throughout the whole thing, she was eating breakfast. And at times seems like she was more interested in the breakfast than the actual meeting. And he just looked at me. He's like, this deal, I wish you would have told me this. Well, we didn't know each other at the time. And I told him that when this happened, we didn't, we were really associated with each other at this level anyways. He goes, if you would have told me this, I would have told you that deal was dead in the water. She did not respect you. In all his years of doing major meetings and all that, he has never had a client eating a full breakfast during the meeting. Like, you might have tea and coffee and will offer it to the person you're having a meeting with, but you're not just having a full meeting and just shoveling and obviously the meeting ran late because she was running late, even though she's the one who set up this meeting in the time, and then just wanted us to hurry it up so she could finish eating. And he goes, the deal was dead right then and there. And that explains why, when you were looking to get this finalized, she wasn't giving you what you needed. Now, I did share the emails with him, and he goes, okay, you later on, and your first emails were very respectful, very professional, but later on it was coming off like you were kind of nagging to get this information. But I go, well, at that point, the deal was almost dead anyways. I needed that purchase order. But it was interesting that the way he looked at it, that, yeah, when you're in a meeting and someone's just eating breakfast and is not concerned really about what you're talking about and more interested in just eating, that tells you a lot about where things are going. And I would share these emails with you. I would love to. But unfortunately, my ex-girlfriend, who I was living with at the time, used my computer and went on some sketchy websites, and pretty much I got the blue screen of death, and I had just enough time to back up my files, my actual graphics files. I didn't even think about my emails, which were in Outlook. I didn't keep them in Hotmail. I always exported them into my computer in Outlook. I wasn't even thinking about emails. So by the time I got the black screen of death and my computer was dead, I got my graphics files, but the emails were gone. But I would love to share them. But the reason why I'm sharing the story is not some grandiose learning lesson. And, it took time for me to get over that. And the anger I felt. And when Target took over, and that's what happened with Zellers. Target, when they came into Canada, they took over Zellers. Zellers was no more. They pretty much bought it from the Hudson's Bay Company. And then Target itself, through horrible planning, horrible, inventory management, they collapsed in no time here in Canada and backed out. I was happy that Zellers was done. It's petty, but I was happy. And actually gave me some relief, knowing that it's their own incompetence that led to this. There are Canadian retailers like Canadian Tire, Shoppers Drug Mart, Giant Tiger, that do very well in this country. They're Canadian owned, Canadian operated, and they're able to function perfectly fine. Zellers fell by their own accord, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who has a story. I'm sure there's a lot of innovative Canadian companies that tried, and the laissez-faire attitude just shot them down. But yeah, I just wanted to share that. It's a long-winded story about my greatest rejection, and my greatest learning lesson of that rejection is do not put all your eggs in one basket. Giving them the exclusive, especially when they didn't ask for it, wasn't a wise move. I shouldn't have done that. I should have still shopped the idea around and leveraged the point that this major retailer wanted my product to get other major retailers, and I probably would have had success. And that's the greatest takeaway I take from it. And appreciating more the small retailers that I had. Again, when you're in your 20s, you want to be rich, you want to be successful. I should have put more emphasis and time into the smaller retailers than the big boy and being screwed over by them. But yeah, that's just a story to share, and you could give me your thoughts and maybe share what you went through, and yeah, so that's about it. And this was also just a test for my new layout, and trying to deck out the room and make it look more presentable for making future videos. So thanks for listening to my rant. You can let me know what you think, and yeah, looking forward to getting some more stuff going.